Okay, so we've got a doozy today. Thomas Markle Senior, Meghan Markle's father, has come out on Sunrise, the Australian breakfast TV show here. Ah, he's not holding back, man. Let's have a look. Let's put headphones on and have a look at this. Here we go. This is unbelievable.
As far as fractured relationships go, this is as public and as brutal as it gets. By all accounts, Meghan Markle had a happy childhood, spending much of her time with her father.
Yeah, she had a happy childhood, because my theory is that Daddy just did basically whatever Meghan said. I think Daddy gave her too much praise, and this is what caused a problem. You can see right there. I know how to read kids, man. That's an arrogant little kid.
He says he paid for her education and holidays and took her to TV show sets where he worked as a lighting designer. But when Meghan began dating Prince Harry, it all changed.
I wonder why. All right, my theory is that, Daddy, he doesn't fit the image, the nice image that Meghan likes. Probably a little bit too fat for Meghan, doesn't fit the Hollywood image, and basically goes to Dad. It just doesn't fit in with her high-class image anymore. There we go.
Hounded by press and alone in Mexico, Thomas Markle was struggling to cope.
There was such an obsession about anything in my world, including tracking down my parents, and I did everything I could to protect both of them.
I'd say, bullshit. Have you seen any security around Thomas Markle? That's the photographer that set up those pictures before the wedding. But seriously, guys, any Meghan fans out there? I know there's lots of them. You like to bag me, but have you seen any security around Thomas Markle at all? How is Meghan protecting him?
He says that is not true.
Correct.
And as the tabloids made a mockery of him, he was convinced to take staged paparazzi photos before his daughter's wedding.
And he bloody apologises for it. It's like, I'm totally on Thomas's side here. It's like he just wanted to up his image, because he knows how image conscious Meghan is, man. She's like the Hollywood B, C, D, E grade actor, and he knew that he had to lift his game and punch out some decent photos.
No one took any time to protect any member of our family.
That's right.
We were attacked by the press every day.
Don't worry, mate. I've never said a bad word about you.
He is now completely cut off from Harry and Meghan and has no contact with his grandchildren.
I look at Archie, I think about this child, and I go, I genuinely can't imagine doing anything to intentionally cause pain to my child.
Yeah, that's because it can't speak yet. Wait until it starts answering back to you and then doesn't follow your orders. Then the games are going to start, hey?
I can't imagine it. So it's hard for me to reconcile that.
It's a relationship as complicated as it is damaged.
No, I think it's pretty simple. She's a spoiled little brat. Daddy doted on her too much. She's got too much confidence now. She thinks she's Queen Bee. It's quite simple, really. It's not complicated at all.
But the question now is, can it ever be repaired?
No.
Thomas Markle Senior joins us now. Welcome to Sunrise. Thomas, firstly, you haven't met either of your grandchildren. Gee, that must be incredibly difficult. What lengths will you go to see them?
So you can hear the echo there, because so via satellite.
First, thank you and good morning. What lengths would I go to see them? I would wait patiently till they were ready to bring them to me. I don't
Classy response, mate. Classy response.
want to be a stalker.
That's
I don't
right.
want to do anything like that. They live about 120 miles from me in Montecito. But as long as my daughter has the attitude that she doesn't want me to see them, that's the way it's going to be. I certainly won't do anything silly or attempt to stalk them to see my grandchildren. Although I think they're being deprived of seeing all their grandparents, and they're being deprived of seeing all their relatives. And
That's what I've been saying all along, man. Meghan's couldn't handle the heat in England, so she went over to first Canada with her friend Jessica Mulroney. You know, everything's going to be done Meghan's way. Hey, it's like went over to Canada, surrounded herself with her friends, isolated Harry, started working on him, training him, and yeah, this is the way I see it. And it's so interesting because Thomas, later on in the interview, we'll get to it, Thomas basically, it's like he's reading my mind, man. Everything I said about Meghan, he basically confirms.
I think that's terribly unfair to them.
The Queen, yeah.
Well, what would you say to your grandchildren, and what would you like to do with them if you get the chance to meet them?
Well, I would say that I love them, and I would certainly, I mean, well, Lily, of course, is just at the age where you just simply hold her, and Archie, well, Archie probably be a great little playmate. I'd probably get along very well with him, and I'd certainly enjoy it, I'm sure.
Yeah, get in quick, mate, before Meghan ruins him.
He seems like a sweet kid. I'd like to have the opportunity to spend time with him, but until this is resolved somehow with Meghan and Harry, nothing will happen.
Thomas, we know in the US some grandparents have taken legal action to see their grandkids. Is that something you would consider?
I've had offers from several lawyers pro bono to...
Yeah, pro bono. They want the publicity, hey? Do it pro bono. But you can tell Thomas isn't that sort of bloke, you know? He knows, well, actually, he knows his place better than Meghan does, eh? He's not going to push the issue. He knows what Meghan's like. She'll just clamp down even harder if he starts pushing it and starts confronting it. That's what narcs do.
We do have a right to sue to see our grandchildren, but to me, that's like turning this into some kind of a game and using them as pawns, or and I won't sue to see them, because I just think that's using them, and it's not what I plan to do, and I don't want to see Harry and Meghan do the same thing.
Too late, mate. She's already using them as pawns. She's been using them as pawns against the Queen as well. You know, trying to get her own way with, I'll bring him back when I want. You know, I want to get, you know, Lilibet christened, you know, in the chapel and all sort of things. Like, you know, she's playing games, just a constant freaking game. I'm so sick of it.
Shouldn't be used. They're just kids. They're babies.
That's right.
Yeah.
So no, I'll wait.
It's a really sad relationship, a really strained one. You're saying all the grandparents can't see them, but Doria can, Meghan's mum, your ex-wife.
You know why Doria can see him? Because Doria is compliant. Doria just basically does whatever Meghan tells her to do. It's like being in a cult. It's like, you know, that's why Doria was allowed at the wedding. Because, you know, Meghan knew that she could control her mum. You know, it's like the rest of the Markle family seem to have a personality, and Meghan won't allow that. What do we know about Doria? Nothing. She's just like so plain. It's like, you know, Meghan, you can just write the script on her.
Have you rung Doria and tried to sort this out and said, hey, can you go into bat for me?
I've tried a few times to call her and not been able to get through, and I've also left a couple of letters for her on her porch with no response. I don't know if she's well. Doria and I always did get along. There shouldn't be a problem, but I'm sure that Doria does whatever Meghan and Harry tell her to do.
Oh, did you hear that? Doria does whatever Meghan and Harry tell her to do. I don't think it's whatever Harry tells her to do. Harry doesn't come across to me as somebody who's very controlling.
So that seems to be a dead end for me as well.
So you've tried to call her and you've left letters on her porch at her house.
Hang on, I'm going to go back a sec here. This sums up Meghan. If you're good at lip reading, yeah, we'll just go back a fraction. Let's see if we can go back. Don't go back too much. But check this out. Meghan turns around. This is one of the home videos. Meghan turns around to Thomas and goes, "What?" Have a look.
Dead end for me as well.
So you've tried to call her and you've left letters on her porch.
Just see that? It's like, what? What do you want? Man, she's a sport little brat. Yeah, Thomas absolutely adores Meghan. That's the problem. Probably did not discipline her at all when she was a little kid. And she's turned into like a me Meghan. Me Meghan. So there we go. That's my theory.
At her house and no communication whatsoever.
That's correct.
Yeah, it just seems so sad that over those initial photos that you took before the wedding, that sounds like that's where it all broke down. Were you close to Meghan before that, or were things starting to go awry before the wedding?
Yeah, it's like, the thing is, Meghan would have used anything. She would. That was the hook. That's just the leverage. That's the excuse of why she's pissed off with Thomas. No, she was looking for any little detail. So now you're going to talk about growing up with Meghan.
Meghan and I had a good relationship all from the time she was in this age 2 all the way, well, 8, from the time she was born until she went off to college. It went a little dry when Harry entered the picture. I'm not quite sure why, but
I think I explained that. Just does not fit the image. That's the thing. Meghan's all about image. Meghan probably thought that Thomas would just go away and, like, you know, she'd ghost him and he'd go away. And it doesn't seem to be working with Thomas Senior, Thomas Junior, Samantha. Doesn't seem to be working with Piers Morgan either, the ghosting, hey?
It became a little difficult there, and one of the problems was that she kept asking me to tell my oldest daughter, Samantha, and my oldest son, Thomas, to stop saying things about them. But my oldest kids are 50 years old. Good luck to you trying to tell your 50-year-old child to do anything.
Hey, I'm 50. You can't tell me what to do. But the thing is, what was I going to say? Sidetracked there. So she doesn't do the dirty work herself. She tries to get the dad to tell him. Why don't you just tell him yourself, Meghan? Just tell him yourself to shut up. That's what if you want to tell him to shut up, do it yourself, mate.
So that may have been one of the things that upset her. And of course, the photographs were a setup. I was set up by a guy named Jeff Rayner and another guy named Dylan Howard, who was with American Media, I think. And the whole thing was a plan to actually mess up the wedding. I was just part of it. Basically, they went to my...
So I don't understand. Well, how would that mess up the wedding? What did they think, that Meghan was going to react like that? I don't understand why taking some decent photos of Thomas is going to mess up the wedding. But here we go.
My oldest daughter, and convinced my oldest daughter to...
So they went to Samantha, got through to Samantha, and yeah.
Convinced me to have photographs to clean up my image, because the photographs before that were always making me look bad. So I bought into it and went along. I regret it to this day, because it was a total setup. And Jeff knew he knew it. Matter of fact, he bragged about it on Facebook. He bragged about it to everybody. Someday I'd like to, I'm tempted to sue him if I fail in suing him, I hope to see him someday with Weinstein, because he was also shooting young women for Weinstein to make them look bad so they couldn't sue him for rape.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting twist. So this photographer was taking like really bad photos of the victims of Weinstein and trying to intimidate them so they wouldn't testify against Harvey. But I personally thought the photos were good. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I don't know why he regrets taking them. I think they were pretty decent photos. Fill me in. I don't understand that bit.
How does that make you feel? From what you're saying, you were conned by your eldest daughter in cahoots with this management company to stage these photos that really destroyed your relationship, was the last straw for Meghan Markle.
Let me correct that. My oldest daughter was conned into conning me. And they went first to my oldest daughter and said that they would make me look good.
And they did make him look good.
And I went along with it. Had I been a little younger and a little smarter, it wouldn't have happened. But I fell for it, and I fell a long way for it. So I do regret it to this day, and I am trying to sue the man, and if I can't succeed in suing him, like I said, I'd be happy to see him laying beside Weinstein.
Look, this has obviously had such an effect on your whole family. Meghan has talked about her mental health, her suicidal thoughts in that Oprah interview while she was in the UK. That must make you feel absolutely terrible as a dad, knowing that she went through that.
Now, here's the bombshell. You prepared for this, guys? Just strap in, because this is very interesting what Thomas says about Meghan's mental health. Here we go.
I have some doubts about it. I don't know that she went through it. The way it was described on the Oprah show is that she told her husband about it, and then he went and asked one of the royals about it, and one of the royals about it said it would be bad to do it. If my wife or my child came to me and said, I'm having a nervous breakdown thinking about suicide, I would take them immediately to a doctor.
Totally, and they've got doctors in house as well, in like Kensington Palace and everywhere, and so I really didn't believe that story. I really did not believe it, and Piers got bagged for not saying he didn't believe it too. I won't let that. We'll keep it rolling, because Thomas actually has his theory too, which aligns with mine, and it just didn't make sense to me. And I put it in another video that didn't make sense. And yeah, see what Thomas has to say.
I wouldn't go check with somebody first.
Exactly.
So I think Harry dropped the ball on this, and I think
that's all made up.
He's obviously not very supportive if he didn't realize that.
So I
have yet to meet Harry.
What are you casting doubts on whether she had mental health problems or whether Harry couldn't help her?
I think a little of both. I think maybe Meghan was a little dramatic here, and I think Harry was a total failure as a husband, because if a wife or a child of mine came to me and said, I have psychological problems and I'm not thinking about suicide, I would get them directly to a doctor.
Yeah.
Nah, see, Meghan made it up. Meghan made it, just like she made up that she got married like 3 days before, and Harry's just sitting there like, it was like, I can't. But Harry just didn't speak up. He knew that was a total lie as well, the wedding. So, man, she just manipulates, gets Harry in a compromising position. He can't speak up because he's going to go against her. It's crazy, eh? But I don't think Harry did anything wrong. I think that story was part of Meghan's currency is victimhood, and she likes playing the victim. and getting all the sympathy. I think it was a pretty disgusting thing to do, really, because I had actual mental health problems 10 years ago, so, and I was on medication and everything, and to use that to try and get sympathy, I think is pretty bloody disgusting, really.
I wouldn't have to go check with somebody first.
What do you think of this whole narrative in the UK that Meghan is the controlling one, that she sets the agenda, Harry's sort of her puppet? Is that the character you remember of Meghan?
I believe that 100%.
Boom! Believes 100%. Meghan is the controlling one. Harry's the puppet.
My daughter's very controlling.
Whoa!
And
there we go.
she's been raised to be that way. And Harry to me hasn't shown me much of anything. Like I said, I've yet to meet the man. He didn't bother to come down to ask for her hand. I know very little about him except that he still acts like a 12-year-old boy.
Well, that's a trauma from Diana's death, I think. But yeah, to raise that way, and I picked that up, and then the co-hosts Kochie and Natalie Barr, they picked it up too. Have a listen to this.
So, and I know that my daughter, both of my daughters, as a matter of fact, are very controlling and could certainly control any man. So.
Okay. What do you mean when you said that's the way she was brought up, to be controlling? She was trained to be controlling.
Well, I just meant that she had self-confidence. That's all. It's not some trick about this self-control. It's just that she had self-confidence when she entered and did in a show or a sport or something. She had the confidence to go through with it and go ahead and do it. That's all.
Because
see, this is a problem with today's generation. I think Meghan's the first sort of generation of kids that were praised way too much and were never told that they did anything bad and never did anything wrong. It's all praise, praise, praise. Love them to death, and then this is the result. They just think that everything they do is correct, and yeah. And they're always right, and if they're not right, they're gonna force you to think they're right.
there's one thing about being a confident woman. There's another thing, but she's being accused of being a bully to palace staff, because that's one of the main things she's been accused of. What do you make of that?
Yeah, you boost their egos up too much. Exactly what I was saying. You got to give kids a bit of balance, you know. I know in Sweden, like PewDiePie, the Swedish have got this attitude that they're no big deal. They just, you know, they're not. There's nothing special about them. Whereas, you know, Americans tend to boost up their kids a little bit too much sometimes.
Accusation.
I've heard about that, and I don't know. I really can't say much about it. The only thing I know for sure is that because she was working a certain television show, that she was used to the idea of waking up at 5 in the morning, and I'm sure nobody else was. So there might have been a problem there. But here again, I hear these things that she loses her temper and she throws things, and that's possible, I guess. I here again, I don't know most of the staff at the palace, so the only person I've ever had a relationship with that was helpful to me was Jason Knopf, who had offered many times to help me and was refused by Meghan and Harry to help me.
It's interesting, isn't it? Why would a staffer be refused? Like, where's the control coming from? Again, I don't think it's Harry. I really don't think it's Harry. Harry comes across as a very, very sort of easygoing bloke. Doesn't come across as controlling. Why has everything changed now that Meghan's in the picture? You know, it's never happened before. I've never heard Harry controlling anyone before.
So That would be my only connection to the palace and to the royals.
After all of what's happened today, what do you think? Is there anything that can be done to repair your relationship with Meghan?
At this time, it doesn't feel like it. I love my daughter. I love Meghan. I'm sure I love my grandchildren and want to see them. I would like to see sometime, maybe she'll... Well, the bottom line, first of all, is I'd like to see them both go, all four of them go back to England and fulfill their obligation. And it's better for the children, and it's better for them. By not taking them back there, they're cheating their children. And also, it's a matter of protection. They get much better protection in England than they would in Montecito. So I really would like to see them back in England, and maybe make up with the Queen and make up with their father, and then maybe we can make up.
He's a wise man, isn't he, old Thomas Markle Senior? He is a very wise man. I don't think he liked them skipping off and making excuses why they need to leave England. You know, it's never happened before. It's just crazy.
You sent her flowers for her recent 40th birthday. Was there any response at all? Have you had any off-the-record response at all from either of them, from anyone in the royal family?
I sent her a bouquet of flowers with 2 yellow ones in the middle for the babies, and I have received no response.
Mate, it's called ghosting. Maybe you should get hold of Piers Morgan. I'm sure they have a lot to talk about. Got a lot in common, haven't they? It's called ghosting. Look it up, mate.
Thomas Markle, tell us about your situation at the moment. You live in Mexico. How do you survive? Your eldest daughter was saying you've got health issues, financial issues.
No.
How's life for you?
It's cheap in Mexico, mate. That's why he's living in Mexico.
I have no financial issues to worry about. I'm 77 years old. I had my first 2 heart attacks. My first heart attack came because of Jeff Rayner, the person we just talked about. And then my second heart attack came about 2 weeks after that. And I had a couple stents put in. So far, I'm doing fine. But there's no financial difficulty whatsoever. I don't need Harry and Meghan's money. I live in Mexico. A man can live very well here.
Do you have Meghan's phone number? Do you have any way to contact her or anyone from the palace?
I do not have Meghan's phone number. The last phone number.
Do you think that's a bit strange? You don't have your daughter's phone number? Seriously, hands up, anyone who's any parents that don't have their kids' phone numbers. That it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like she's just totally ghosting him.
I had with Jason Knopf. I don't know if I still have that or not, but he was my only real connection to anyone there.
Okay. Thomas Markle, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Just a sad state of affairs. Unfortunately, it happens to a lot of families, doesn't it?
A lot of families, but you know, the lengths he's gone to contact Doria to see if she can build a bridge and completely ignore there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I feel sorry.
Interesting, isn't it, guys? That is very interesting. But yeah, notice how they actually had a few hard-hitting questions there for Thomas, unlike Oprah, who just let things just slide. They actually pulled up Thomas on a few things. So, good on him. That was a very good interview. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Leave your comments below. don't say I interrupted too much. I have to interrupt it. It's called fair use for YouTube. I need to do commentary over the footage because it's not my footage. It's actually 7 Sunrise in Australia's footage. So I've got to do commentary. Commentating is part of the fair use provisions in Australian copyright law. So there we go. All the guys that give me lots of shit on in the comments section about interrupting too much. That's the reason why, and I'm sick of telling everyone about it. So I basically just hide the users to do that, especially the very abusive ones. If you, so just don't even bother telling me. I know why I interrupt them. So there you go, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. See you next time. Cheers.